What's up, you guys? Welcome to the very first edition of NBA 3-Ball presented by Establish the Run. I'm your host, Mike Gallagher. That's right, it's December 17th. We got some new content, new day and age. We got video. Really cool. Super pumped. So just to give you a quick rundown on what the plan is here on 3-Ball, we're going to talk three topics. NBA 3-Ball. We're going to talk news. We're going to talk basketball, what happened. And we're going to talk some action about that action boss for people setting up your day to come. We're going to be hopefully one of the first things you check out to start your day, to grind news, even just whatever. If you're just an NBA fan, lots of stuff to talk about, but definitely you DFS guys, we are here for you. So yeah, we'll talk some highlights from what happened the night before and just preview a little bit what is going to happen later with content you can come out and everything that's going to be out there. So super pumped. A lot of people wanted a solo pod, so we got something better. We got graphics and other cool stuff. It's super awesome. I'm so excited about this. So let's talk some basketball, right? Big news of the day is Gordon Hayward, this guy with a funky haircut. He has an avulsion fracture to his pinky finger. So he is listed as day-to-day, but avulsion fractures can keep you out weeks. Jeff Stotts had mentioned that guys can miss 18 games-ish for this injury. We don't know the extent or how big a fracture it is, everything like that. But it's certainly fair to say, despite being day-to-day, he's probably doubtful to play in the opener. I will cite that Derek Favors, a couple years ago, I want to say, he was day-to-day for like a month. So, don't think day-to-day is in... It could be a BS prognosis for them. So... yeah, let's check out the depth chart right here, right? So the lead here is Mikhail Bridges is going to be a guy that you're going to look at for more playing time. We saw him and PJ Washington play together. Bridges is a combo 3-4, and we know Bridges is going to play the 5, which he did. About 115-ish minutes sample last year. And we've seen him play the 5 already, and it's going to be a thing. They want to play him there. He has muscle watch. He has a big chest. Mr. Big Chest. What's up, Antonio Brown? Hopefully none of you played him in your fantasy leagues. But yeah, so they're gonna be guys to watch, especially in the front court, back court too, though, right? Gordon Hayward's supposed to handle the ball. We even saw Devontae Graham, reportedly or not reportedly, James Borrego said that Devontae Graham's usage should come down this year. Interestingly enough, Terry Rozier said he wanted to play more catch and shoot, and he's been working on that. So those guys are gonna be on ball more with Hayward working through this injury. Poor guy, man. Tough luck with the injuries. So LaMelo, long enough to guard threes. This is all really good things for those guys. I would expect to see Cody Martin get a little bit increase in playing time. We saw him play really great in March. And even Caleb Martin, I think he had a 20-point game too. So interesting with that. So yeah, we'll move on here to the next subject. Minor here, but let's talk a little D'Angelo Russell. He is out with ankle soreness. He had some ankle issues that took forever to get over in Brooklyn. So that's something to kind of just keep in your back pocket. It's preseason, but I just want to mention it and talk a little bit about the Minnesota squad here as I'm learning on the fly. I got to use Control F, right? So yeah, this team's got some really question marks in the backcourt, right? We're getting the hint that Ryan Saunders doesn't really want to play D'Angelo and Ricky Rubio and Malik Beasley together too much. And we've seen some substitutions where Okogie's playing the 4, and Rubio's coming in earlier too, so they'll get some overlap. But obviously, if D'Angelo's limited, like Ricky Rubio is going to vault up the rankings. He's like late mid-ish round now, and I'm not even close to targeting him when he's getting drafted. So that's something to keep an eye on with that. But again, maybe it's minor. It's just something to put in your back pocket. I would still rather have like Jamal Murray. I'd rather have DeJounte Murray. If that's a hot take. But yeah, keep an eye on that one. And then the other interesting news here is Kevin Porter Jr. He is going to miss time, it sounds like. He has some kind of off-court issues. There, look at that. Control F is my friend, right? He's going to miss some time here. So we saw the quote here. I got it ready to go. Look at me. And JB Bickerstaff saying that he's not on the trip. And organizationally, they put a plan in place, and they're standing by that plan. This is not great. This sounds like he could miss time here. So I mean, we'll talk about the game in a second. Actually, let's just do that now, right? Let's keep it tight here. So let's talk some basketball action that we saw from a 4-game slate. Let's start with these Cavs that I mentioned. Kevin Porter Jr. Really, the highlight to me here is Isaiah Okoro playing 30 minutes a game. He looks the part. He's so long. He gets out in transition. He plays the 3. He plays the 2. He plays the 4. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. His offense is really surprisingly good. I'm targeting him, last round. He's like my favorite last round flyer right now because I don't think Jetty Osman could keep him at bay. Okoro is just so good right now, and there's enough opportunity for him to really do some damage. So, yeah, draft him. You can get him late. I don't think people are onto him yet unless they all follow me, or I don't really know anybody else who's really pumping him up. Maybe I'm wrong, but I guess I got him at like 159, I think, in my 30-man today. So not a lot of buzz on him. Drew specifically, you got him up to the 120s in the projections too. So we are definitely feeling some Isaac Okoro. Garland usage continues to be really high. He's definitely a guy I'm drafting pretty aggressively now. Around 100-ish if I'm missing point guards. Got him tonight, so really like him. Andre Drummond is going to do what Andre Drummond does. Talk of him being a big pick and roll with Kevin Love. This is awesome stuff too. So yeah, Cleveland, as bad as Cleveland's going to be, I mean, there's a lot of fantasy value to be had here. Obviously, it's a little skewed with all these guys missing time. Let's talk the New York Knickerbockers. I think the highlight for me was we saw 11 minutes of overlap with Julius Randle and Obi Toppin. They played pretty well together too. As Toppin had some good run late in this game as the Knicks made a comeback. But just tracking the minutes here, the first game, Randle and Toppin played 1 minute together. Second game was 8. Today it was 11. That obviously is because they only really had one center besides Amari Spellman's 5 minutes. So, yeah, Tibbs is trusting them. They make some really bad mistakes. It's talked about on the pod with Sekou Doumbouya carving them up. Death by 1,000 cuts with easy buckets against them, scoring in the 20s on easy shots. But, yeah, Mitch Robb, fouls are there. Blocks are great. Really nice roll game from him. I thought he played pretty well. He's boomer bust if you're going to draft him. You're going to draft him in probably 6th, 7th round now, and I think it's well worth it, man. He's not going to go away entirely, right? We know Nerlens Noel can't play 25 minutes, already banged up. This guy can't stay on the court. I'm loving the depressed Mitch Robb value. We've got him. Drew and I, both things we did together so far, we've got him. So, loving that. And Emmanuel quickly, he is quickly catching up to Dennis Smith Jr. as Austin Rivers gets over his groin injury that's kept him out so far. So quickly, man, a lot of buzz on him. Props to me. Dink is a legend, and I had a couple nice little calls on the show. So I'll take my victory laps. Although Dink is, I feel pretty good about that. Dink's the man, and I'm just happy I get to help on the DFS show. Those guys it's the best. I mean, I'm honored. I'm honestly honored to be on that show. So happy to add a little bit of value to that. Let's move on here to some other games. I got a lot of notes here on the Bulls and the Thunder. And let's go Bulls, and let's move over to their depth chart. See, we got a lot going on here, right? We've got the headline here, Mr. Rookie. We've talked about Mr. Okoro. We got Mr. Patrick Williams. Apparently, the Bulls broadcast is calling him Project Pat. So shout out to the hip-hop reference. I like it. And yeah, let's talk about the reason why Patrick Williams started over Otto Porter Jr. And guess what? I think this could be legit. We've seen Otto Porter already on minutes limits. And man, he's super flexible, Patrick Williams. Just ball handling's pretty good. Almost like a Okoro-esque. He's even more flexible than Patrick Williams is. And we got some quotes here from Donovan. He said, the reason for starting Pat is to see something a little different. OP in that second unit could be a good thing for us. He's a complete pro. He keeps himself ready. Whatever the team needs him to do. Also, we should add, Billy Donovan said that Lauri Markkanen needs to be an 8, 12, 15 rebounds a game guy. And then also Kobe White had said that Patrick Williams is super talented, super poised, and not surprised. Yep. That puts Patrick Williams on the board, guys. Another rookie. All of a sudden, this don't draft rookies thing has quickly turned around to draft rookies late, which is what we love to do if you play fantasy. And Patrick Williams, man, he could do defense. He can handle the ball a little bit. Loving it. So he's on the board. I thought Wendell Carter Jr. still isn't hitting shots, right? He's missing threes. He's close to the basket. Had a really nice block on weak side help today. I'm still in on Wendell Carter Jr. He could probably slip if you're doing season long. Could probably get him an 80-ish. I haven't seen him go 80. He's always gone like 65, 70 with people who are pretty sharp on it. So keep an eye on him. And then obviously Kobe White and Zach LaVine. I mean, the Thunder just can't cover them. So no surprises there. Kobe White, his assist percentage has been pretty solid. So you got to feel pretty good about his prospects as well. Shifting down to the Thunder side. So we got our first look at Darius Bazley. Let's go over some quotes on that. Their coach had said that Mark Daigneault, if you're unfamiliar, he said Bazley, he looked really good physically, got the ball off the glass and pushed it ahead, which I saw. He was quickly rebounding, uncontested rebound, turned it up court, got the ball, and then eventually, I think it turned into a Lou Dort missed layup, if my memory serves. And he thought he did a good job on Lauri Markkanen. Lots of talk about them as well. He said a scout coach asked each player to break down opponent, and Bazley was talking up how well he guarded Lauri Markkanen, and he did a pretty good job too, I thought. So Bazley didn't pop, but didn't disappoint. We want that. That's what we want for season long. We want our targets to be good enough when we're not dropping them, but not great where we have to reach up and grab them. So good stuff. I took Bazley at 99 in a competitive league. You could probably get him 130, 140 in a non-competitive league, but that 100 to 120 window is where you want to be, I think, if you're really, really into him. Just so much upside. We saw what he did in the bubble as well. So I really like him. Shea's a baller. Shea's looking to pass a lot. We saw him kind of get in the lane, and he was really trying to take advantage of the Bulls' perimeter defense. We know what we're going to get out of him. Lou Dort missed shots. What else is new? You're kind of just drafting him late in the deep league, see what happens. And Theo Maledon, again, he continues to make an impact, man. This guy's going to find minutes. My boy Frank Jackson also is having another, really productive offensive season. We got to see George Hill get out of here so both these guys can get minutes, and we get a look at these youngsters. Pokashevsky, man, he almost got dunked on by Lauri Markkanen. He tried to Blake Griffin him and put Pokashevsky in the Mozgov spot, but it did not happen. So good stuff with that one. Let's just keep on trucking here. Not too much to take away here from the Blazers and Nuggets. We saw pretty standard substitutions. The only really surprise was Harry Giles went in ahead of Enes Kanter in this one to back up Nurk. Nurk right at the 20-minute limit, which we saw coming as well. Pretty standard substitutions, as I said. We're seeing Carmelo for Rocco, Rodney Hood for Derrick Jones Jr., and then your standard Gary Trent Jr. subbing in with one of the other 2 point guards. CJ McCollum is still kind of the backup point guard because Dame was actually asked about this when they were asked about Anthony Simons, and Dame's basically like, yeah, he's going to develop. Like, it's still me and CJ, two of the Twitter goats. They're going to be running the offense. So nothing really to break down on that front. Denver, Jokic is a monster, man. And this team, they scored so many points, man. 41 points in the first quarter, just smash mode. I love it, man. I'm all in on Jamal Murray. Jokic is an easy top 5 pick. Honestly, if you're worried about Harden and you're obsessed about how he looked with his weight, just take Jokic, man. And how funny is it that James Harden and Jokic, we're talking about Jokic being the one in shape, right? I love the picture. I wish I could pull it up real fast, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to have to recrop this. So, yeah, Will Barton actually was probably a headline here. He subbed in for Gary Harris. That's very noteworthy. I thought Gary Harris played a little sloppy today. Had a couple bad turnovers. And Will Barton, I thought he had his wind. He had a minutes limit. So I took him off the 150. I'm putting him back on, as I should probably go to the depth charts here. First run, guys. Give me a break. So, yeah, interesting. And also, Facundo Campazzo did not play in the first half. That's a really good sign for Barton. Interesting sign for Monte Morris as well. And we saw PJ Dozier, who was sliding around from kind of the 3-2 to more of a 2 as well. So position flexibility is interesting there. JaMychal Green also saw some 5 in the first half. Something to keep an eye on with that. But yeah, Denver's going to be really good. We know that. And then after that, nothing really doing with the Lakers and Suns. Dennis Schroeder did tweak his ankle, and that's okay. It sounds like it was called a tweak from Mike Trudell, their sideline guy who rules. He's a big fantasy guy, by the way. So as I pull up their depth charts, I am improving here, guys. I'm in summer league right now, right? So yeah, not again. I guess everyone had their eye on Taylor Horton-Tucker. Guess what? He did good again. So he had 7 of 11. This guy doesn't miss shots. He gets easy shots. He's so long. Gets around dudes. He got drafted in my 30-man right before I took Okoro, 2 picks before I took Okoro. I would definitely, as I said on the Schefter pod, I would easily take Okoro over Taylor Horton-Tucker. Just easier path to minutes. LeBron looking fine. AD had some ice on his legs, and they're good. Nothing really to take away there. Suns, not too much here going on either. Jalen Smith continues to play a lot of 4. DeAndre Ayton had some really great looks. Him and Chris Paul have a really good rapport, which we expected, right? He's a guy you're taking in that second, third round turn. Mikhail Bridges getting pretty good usage. He gets so many easy shots from his teammates. Booker as well. Booker, man. One of my favorite Booker stats. Led the NBA in potential assists per pass. This dude makes his passes count. He doesn't pass a lot, but when he passes, you're getting maybe 1.5 fantasy points, better than anybody else when he does in half court. So you love it. Langston Gallagher continues to make an impact, making threes. He may carve out a role on his team as well. Okay, so let's talk a little about the upcoming slate for tomorrow. Not too much going on here. Really want to spend some time on what we saw tonight, and as I'm recording this West Coast time to wrap up the evening. Got Charlotte. We talked a little bit about them. We'll see what happens with Orlando. We haven't really seen Gary Clark and Chuma Okeke get into... we thought it was going to be Chuma up first, but it's been Clark ahead of him. And really the headline here is we got Bradley Beal. He is going to play, according to Scott Brooks, he's going to play just a few minutes, so we don't know how much, and we don't know what's up with Mr. Russell Westbrook. And we're also seeing the rookie Denny, I don't know how to pronounce his last name yet. He has a good chance to start, which is what I think that's going to happen. We all love Bonga, but not the upside's not really there. Bonga was a point guard convert with the big wingspan, so something to keep an eye on with that one. San Antonio, probably the DFS thing we're going to be watching a lot is San Antonio. They're supposed to have a dress rehearsal. If you remember, in the last game, Coach Pop said that the next game that they play, i.e. this one, is going to be kind of the dress rehearsal game. So we'll get a good look at their starting lineup. We'll get a look to see how long they want to go with Lonnie. And then I've actually made some big changes to the Spurs depth charts today. And this was the big change here. These two guys, they have shifted from down here to small forward to up here to shooting guard. And yeah, Devin Vassal's been so good. 4.5 steals per 36. He shot the ball well. Super, super long, super quick. He's a baller, man. Shout outs to Brian. We did that pod. He looks so good. But yeah, this team's got a lot of depth. But yeah, Vassal's probably looking at 12, 13, 14 minutes right away. And Lonnie Walker, over his back issues, he looks like he's going to be ready to roll. DeJounte's going to ball. And they're comfortable with that. The traditional LaMarcus and then Yaka behind him. So, yep. And then other than that, nothing too much. We'll see a little bit what happens with Cam Reddish. He's a little banged up. Brandon Clark's questionable. That's something to keep an eye on as well. I mentioned D'Angelo. And we'll see what Rick Carlisle does and the rest of that. So that's going to do it for the very first edition of NBA 3-Ball. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Always appreciate your feedback. Hit me up, Mike S. Gallagher. Hit up Establish Run NBA on Twitter. Let us know how you feel. And we'll keep you posted. Really excited for this. So you guys take care. We'll catch you next time.